the honor of hosting an esteemed speaker, Dr. Ashwani Garg. So, Dr. Garg is a conventional trained doctor who has dedicated his practice to functional medicine. So, functional medicine takes a science based approach to uncover the root cause of chronic diseases and helps to recover the body. So, Dr. Garg is a founder of Functional Medicine Clinic, an Indian Association of Function Medicine. So, now without any further ado, let's dwell into the world of functional medicine with Dr. Ashwani Garg as he shares a valuable insight on reversing type 2 diabetes.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ekta. And good afternoon, everyone. And hope I'll be able to share something which is useful to all of you and, of course, to your families. Okay. Now, today, most of us wonder, okay, why do we suffer so much in terms of healthcare? Why do we keep living with the problem? Okay. If we do the right things, there are ways you can make this body once again healthy. You don't have to manage your disease. Rather, you can come out of the disease. And functional medicine is a science which helps to give the tools to understand the root cause of any problem. Most of the chronic problem this humanity is suffering from today. And then the strategies, how do we come out of what is that all we have to do? And a lot of time, just the basic, nothing out of the world we have to do, just the basic. This human design is done in certain way and it has certain requirements. We just have to maintain those requirements and you are good to go. You don't have to become disease in the first place. Okay. Now, if somebody has a problem, you can fix it. Now, when it comes to type 2 diabetes, it's a 100% reversible case, as long as you understand the problem and what the nuances behind it. And most of the time, we don't work on the nuances. We rather keep looking at the symptoms and trying to fix the symptom. That is why this becomes a lifelong problem. And most of the people around the globe will say it cannot be. But luckily, recent 5-7 years, a lot of work is already done. And people are able to reverse and openly saying that it can be reversed. So this is a good news. But I will even go beyond. I will today, maybe all of these points that I will be sharing has not done with you so far. So I'll go very, very detailed, but very, very simple also. Now, before even can come to diabetes, if you look at any chronic problem, okay, be it diabetes, be it PCOS, hypertension, thyroid, autoimmunity, stomach problems, IBS, IBD, every problem is increasing. The prevalence of the healthcare system is increasing. So many of our population is suffering from one or the other problem. And a lot of time for any chronic problem, we are told it is bad genes. Okay, if your family has, you're supposed to have. Okay, but if you really look at it, human genome has not changed in last 100 years, 200 years, but certainly a number of people suffering from the problem is certainly increasing. So this gives a data point that it cannot be genetic. Okay, if it's any problem is genetic only, that means the prevalence should not increase until we have a change in genes. Okay, so at least the science is clear today. It's not only genes, rather it is more epigenetics, the factors which are within the body, outside the body, which is influencing the outcome of the gene, either health or disease. So you cannot change the gene certainly, but you can change the epigenetics. You can change the lifestyle. You can change the food. You can change the kind of lighting. You can change your hydration. All of these things so that your genes will manifest health. So that is the overall premises of this discussion today. Okay. Now, coming back to diabetes. Okay. First, we will try to understand how the situation is managed currently by most of the doctors. Okay, now again, nothing against nobody. It is all for our own purpose to understand. If we understand the problem, there are chances you can come out of that. But if you don't even know what is causing, how do you solve? Doesn't matter how long you try, it doesn't come. We are not able to solve the problem. Okay, so let's understand how conventionally it is being treated and what could be the potential drawbacks. Now, when we say somebody has diabetes, we say blood sugars are going up, right? And we are trying to reduce the blood sugar. That's about it. Now, why these blood sugars are going up, nobody is bothered about it. Okay. Now I'll give you an analogy. If there's a car engine and the fuel tank, now fuel is not getting consumed. Now that is your blood sugar. Fuel is not getting consumed. Now engine has to consume the fuel. Now if engine is broken and fuel is not getting consumed, now where is the problem? Is engine is the problem or fuel is the problem? Now blood sugar is not getting controlled in the blood. Why? Because engines are broken in the body. What is the engine in the body? That is the mitochondria. That is why we call it a metabolic disorder. It's a mitochondrial disorder. So mitochondria is the engine in the body. Okay. So we are all trying to put effort. Somehow we have to reduce this fuel in the tank. If even I have to puncture the tank, I am ready to do that. But I want to bring this down. But actually problem is somewhere else. That is the mitochondria. So ideally, the right way to control type 2 diabetes is you want to improve the metabolic function. You want to improve the engines of the body. Okay. As you improve the metabolic function, your blood sugar will certainly come down. Okay. But conventionally, how it is done? Okay. First line of treatment is metformin. Now, metformin is a good guy. It improves the engine function. It improves the mitochondrial function. It improves the insulin sensitivity, which is a good thing. Okay, you take metformin, great. But type 2 diabetes by definition is not a problem of pancreas. Pancreas in most cases, or also by definition, pancreas is doing okay. Amount of insulin production in the body in type 2 diabetes is completely normal. It's just the case that it is not working. Okay. Because engines are not consuming, mitochondria is not consuming the sugars. That is why sugars are keeping high in the blood. So where is the problem? It's an engine. Okay. So second line of treatment, if metformin doesn't work in usually most of the cases, is you are given a drug to increase your insulin. Now you already have enough insulin or more insulin in the blood if you test it. But you are gone ahead and given a drug to increase your insulin. Now, what can happen? You prematurely burn your pancreas by unnecessarily burdening your pancreas. Okay. And third, another strategy that is deployed is you somehow want to remove blood sugars by the route of the kidneys. It's like puncturing your fuel tank. Okay. So problem is in the mitochondria, in the engine. You have to repair this problem. Okay. And it is taken care. But rather we are doing all other things which are not directly affecting the mitochondria. That is why when we don't do the right things, a disease becomes a lifelong disease. Hope that gives us a little bit of more clarity. Okay. So only focusing on somehow reducing blood sugars is the main culprit why so many people, once they get diagnosed, they remain diagnosed. They're not able to come out of the problem. So that's one. Second, when you load yourself with too many drugs, okay, you certainly prematurely burn your pancreas. So by the time you are 50s, 55, 60s, 65, you have taken so many drugs that you overburden your pancreas to release more insulin, and you start going into 1.5 or 1 diabetes. Now you see, just because the treatment strategy is not right, we get into more bigger problems. So hope that gives you a little more better context why I'm saying conventionally, if not treatment is not done in the right way, we might get into more trouble. And these are some of the things. Okay. Now, next thing is, we're always told that, first thing you have to test whether you are getting diabetes or not is your blood sugars. Now, blood sugar is a late manifestation. Okay. When your blood sugars are high, you're already diabetic. Okay. How do you, beforehand, you become diabetic? How do you check yourself whether you are going to become diabetic? You check your fasting insulin. Okay. Now, as your mitochondria is not doing okay, it develops insulin resistance and your insulin will start going up. Now, that is your first marker to know if you are going to get to your diabetes before even your blood sugars are start going up. Okay, so if your fasting insulin is more than 6, that means your mitochondria is not doing okay. That means you are going to get into trouble. Now, before even you become diabetic, you can test your fasting insulin and see, and you take the corrective actions so that you don't get into diabetes. Okay. But even if you get into diabetes, there are ways. If it is type 2 diabetes, you can do the right things for yourself and you can come out of it. Okay. Second confusion that is always, this pre-diabetes and there is full-blown diabetes. Okay. To my understanding, once your blood sugar start going up, once your HbA1c start going up more than 5.6 of your HbA1c, you are diabetic. Okay, and you start taking the right steps for yourself without any further delay. Don't wait for you getting a full-blown diabetes. Okay, now with this understanding, let's deep dive into the possible reasons behind the problem. Okay, it's an engine problem. It's a mitochondrial metabolic disorder. What could be potentially causing these problems in the body? Okay, blood sugar is certainly keeping high, and not only we have to fix only the blood sugar, so we have to fix the reason behind it. Now, first thing, of course, is your diet. If you're eating sugars, you're eating gluten, you're eating white rice, you're eating a lot of sweet fruits, if you're already diabetic, that keeps you diabetic throughout. Okay, so kind of food you eat and ability to burn your fuel will decide whether your blood sugars will go up. Okay, second is amount of toxins in the body. If your toxin load is going up, for example, your mercury, for example, your lead, aluminium, microplastics, they all can affect the cellular machinery. Thereby, mitochondrial health becomes poor, engine health becomes poor, ability to consume your sugars become poor, and sugar will start going up in the blood. If your body is inflamed, if you have pain in the body, if you have some gut problems, this means some level of inflammation is there. Now, if inflammation is there, that also start affecting your cellular machinery, mitochondria. Thereby, you have blood sugars going up. If your oxidative damage is happening to cell membranes, now all the functions, all the entry of the nutrient into the cell or toxic waste coming out of the cell has to happen through the membranes. Now, if you're not eating well, you're not repairing your cell membranes well, and your cell membranes become more rigid and dysfunctional, then also blood sugar doesn't enter easily into the cell or into the mitochondria. Thereby, somebody's start getting into diabetes. Now, this engine that mitochondria also requires raw materials, minerals and vitamins, proteins and fats and phospholipids required to digest the food that we take, to metabolize the food that we take. Now, if your engine health is going bad because raw materials are not there, minerals or vitamins, proteins, and fats are not there, that also becomes a problem. If you don't exercise, now for a mitochondria, exercise is the stimulus to grow and to repair and regenerate the mitochondria. Now, if you don't move your body, if you don't do some exercise, that also can affect the metabolic health, thereby blood sugar is going high. Of course, your too much of exposure to the blue light toxicity is another huge problem today. We are always sitting under same kind of lighting, morning, evening, same kind of lighting. Then, of course, coming to the stress part, if you are stressed out. Now, you see, there are so many factors why somebody, the blood sugars start going up. Okay. It's not about sugars going up. It's a consequence. High sugar in the blood is a consequence. There are reasons behind it, which you need to know and which you need to fix. Okay. We'll talk about a little more in depth. One, of course, the insulin resistance. Your insulin has become more in the body because your pancreas is overworking, because your mitochondria is not doing okay. Okay. You eat very, very frequently. Every 2 hours, every 3 hours, you eat, and you keep stimulating your insulin production. It becomes resistant. Sugars doesn't enter the cell, and sugars start going up. So if you're eating very, very frequently every 2-3 hours, most of the time it is also told by the doctors or nutritionists that you eat small meals but frequent meals is a very, very wrong strategy. It can keep you diabetic. If you want to come out of type 2 diabetes, you want to eat 2 meals a day, no snacking in between, and at the right time. Second, make sure you are not stressed all the time. Yes, stress is a part of our life, but at least we need to start seeing that it is not affecting our brain and mind. Okay. When you are stressed out, your cortisol goes up, your blood sugars goes up. Again, it's not a deficiency of drug in the body. Because of that, your blood sugars is going high. It is simply a stress. Now, if you do some pranayam, use some meditation, okay, you reduce your cortisol. As a consequence, you reduce your blood sugar. You don't have to be dependent on a drug. So these are very, very critical points. Another very, very important point is something called leptin resistance. Now, we have a feeling of satiety. You eat food, you feel full, and you stop eating. But if you have leptin resistance, you don't get the signal to the brain that you're full now. And you keep eating and you keep overeating. Okay. Now, leptin resistance can also happen if you don't get enough sunlight. For this hormone to work for you, you need to get enough sun in the morning. You get up, you get under sun, and this hormone will work right. As a consequence, your feeling of satiety will be good. As a consequence, you will not overeat. Very, very simple, but very, very effective. Next, very, very important, people living in Delhi NCR, they're exposed to so many toxins, and you will find that probably in that population, amount of diabetes or any other chronic problem is increasing. Rather, any population living in a suburb area where relatively environment is clean, amount of chronic diseases is much lesser because the body is not poisoned. The mitochondria is not poisoned. So mercury, lead, cadmium, arsenic, aluminium, food additive, herbicide, fungicide, pesticide, all of these things, they will enter the body, they will deposit in the body, and they will affect the mitochondrial health. Now, eventually, your mitochondria is just like a car engine with a lot of toxic waste into it. You have the best of the engine, you buy a Audi, Mercedes, but you don't take it for servicing. Then eventually you will see the pickup of the car is so poor. It's not able to effectively burn the fuel. Same analogy you can take for your metabolic health. You have so much toxic waste in the cells so that mitochondria is not able to consume your blood sugars. Okay, so there is enough data today saying people with high level of bisphenol, the plastics, microplastics, have higher percent of diabetes. Okay. Now, another very, very interesting fact I want to tell you that if you overuse antibiotics, then also your diabetes risk can go by 53%. Now, all of these times, I did not even choose one time that genetics is the problem. We're all born with a healthy genes. Okay. It's hardly a genetic problem. It's more of epigenetic. Next huge problem, if your digestive health is not keeping well, if you're bloated, if you're constipated, if you're making more gases, okay, you don't get hungry or you're over hungry all the time, which means your microbiome is not healthy. The microbes in the intestines are not healthy. When you have less of the good microbes, more of the bad microbe, this combination is called dysbiosis. This unhealthy microbes will produce a lot of toxic waste that is called lipopolysaccharides, and they will affect the mitochondrial health, and insulin receptors will become more downregulated. You have insulin, but it is not working just because there's so much infection, chronic infection, dysbiosis going in the system. So if you improve your digestive health, this means you're improving your chronic infections in the intestines, means you improve your insulin sensitivity, means your blood sugar will come down. Another very, very important thing is what kind of light you expose yourself. These humans are supposed to be under broad spectrum light when the sun comes. This is called circadian biology. Sun comes, we are under good light. And sun goes down, human body should be under darkness. This is how this body is meant to be. But unfortunately today, we get up, we turn on the lights. Just before sleep, we turn on our mobile phones, we turn off our tube lights. Now, this is a very, very bad way to live our life. Always under blue light toxicity. Now, this blue light causes a damage to our mitochondria. Thereby, metabolic health is poor. Thereby, blood sugars are going high. Next, of course, your sleep. During daytime, we are doing a metabolic activity within our system. Okay. And when night comes, when we go to sleep, this is where body has to repair. Just like any other mechanical thing where it has to repair, our body also has to repair. Now, if you don't sleep between 10 to 2 p.m., you don't effectively go into repair. Now, if you don't effectively go into repair, you are running on faulty cells. If you're running on faulty cells, faulty mitochondria, metabolic disorder, blood sugars will go high. Now, you see, people who have sleeping difficulty, etc., they are at a higher risk, 2 to 3 times a higher risk of developing type 2 diabetes, or they're continuing with the disease. Again, nothing wrong with the genes. It's just how we live. If you fix these basic fundamentals, you will see your system is getting well. Okay. Now, it all culminates to the poor metabolism, which is the health of the mitochondria. If your mitochondria, the engine is doing okay, your blood sugars will keep good. If your engines are not doing okay, that's a problem. And studies says that diabetics has 40% less mitochondria, or smaller mitochondria, or inefficient mitochondria. The quality of the mitochondria, number of the mitochondria in each cell is reduced. That is why blood sugars are not coming down. Okay. So infections can cause a problem. Blue light can cause a problem. Hydration can cause a problem. Deficiency of B complex, carnitine, CoQ10, lipoic acid. There are fats and proteins, etc. A lot of the raw material that is required to rebuild the mitochondria, or to process, do the processing in the mitochondria, which is missing in the body, can cause the problem. Okay. So we know for sure today what are the reasons behind this diabetes. Okay. There's no more a disease which we don't know about. Okay. That you have to deal with your diabetes throughout life. Okay. You don't have to be scared about your diabetes. You want to keep yourself away from diabetes, start taking right steps. If you have a problem, you test yourself, find yourself to be willing to work for your own health, and you can easily come out of that. So just the myths around this diabetes, once you get it, you have to be diabetic. No, it's untrue. Okay. Drugs can only fix it. Untrue. Drugs can definitely bring your sugars down. It does not fix the problem. Fixing the problem needs the basics. You do the basics, your metabolic health is good, and you come out of the problem anyway. If your family has it or parents has it, you should get it. Absolutely wrong. Maybe your family does not have it, you still can get it. If your family has it, you can still avoid it. Okay. So sometimes it is also important that drugs may be keeping the numbers okay for you. Your blood sugars keep okay, but mitochondria might be unwell. And mitochondrial health is also directly correlated to your aging. Okay. So that is very, very important. So it's all about knowing the problem. What is the reason in each body, or which parameters are wrong in each system, and fixing those parameters, and you can certainly come out of the problem. Type 2 diabetes is 100%. You fix your nutrition, you fix your infection, inflammation, you improve your hydration, you remove your toxins, your liver function doing okay, your thyroid function doing okay, your insulin is sensitive, period. You should come out of diabetes. Very, very simple. But sometimes when we don't know how to do it, then it becomes a lifelong problem. Okay. It's important for all of us. Okay. It's good that we have to take services from outside, but as a human, we should understand the problems, we understand the disease, and we understand the way forward to it. Now, if you have the framework how to do, then you choose the right person for yourself to help you come out of this. Okay. Now, what is the way forward? What is the solution? Okay. You want to get more sunlight. You want to reduce your stress. You want to reduce your screen time. You want to be in a healthy environment. You want to feed your system with the right raw materials. Now, when I say right raw materials, enough fats and enough proteins in the body. Stop too much of carbs in the body. Okay. Now, this is another misconception that we are told that fat is bad. Good quality fat is required in the body. Bad quality fat is bad for sure. But good quality fat is a fundamental requirement of this body. Okay. And certainly maintain a circadian biology. When the sun comes out, you want to go under sun. When it becomes dark, you don't want to unnecessarily expose your body under too much of artificial light. This is the normal basic that is required for a system. Then hydration, one simple practice you can do, you can take your water in a glass bottle, your RO water, your clean water, keep it under sun for 3 hours. This is called sun charged water. Okay. The water will absorb infrared light from the sun. It will absorb prana from the sun, and this water will become charged water. It will become more energetic. And this water will energize your system with the electrons it has absorbed from the sun. Also, it will help you hydrate your system. Okay. If you're using cooking oils, kindly don't use refined food, refined cooking oils. Okay. Make sure you're using coconut oil or desi ghee or cold pressed oils. Preference coconut oil, desi ghee. Next choice is a cold pressed seed oils. Seed oils, if high diabetes, probably you want to avoid seed oils, but at least avoid all the refined oils. Anybody says refined oil, we have done a good work on that, they're wrong. Now, like I said, first major step, even before food, your sleep and your circadian biology. When sun comes up, is a signal to the body to start metabolism. Now, if metabolism is doing okay, your blood sugar will be consumed and it will keep okay in the blood. But if you don't trigger your metabolism by exposing your body to the sun, your metabolic function is poor, thereby sugars are going up. Okay, so this is important that you get a lot of sun in the morning whenever you get up. Okay, better you get up early and start getting under sun. Second most important thing is you want to get into repair also. Daytime you are doing metabolic activity, night is the repair. 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. is the time when body goes into repair. This is how the biology works. Okay, this is not about your job or somebody tells you this and that. This is how we are built. Okay, so after sunset, you want to keep under minimal light, and as comes 10 p.m. or maximum 11, you want to go to sleep. At least 2-3 hours of restorative sleep so that you can repair your system. You can repair your mitochondria. Okay, if you want to improve your metabolic function further, you expose yourself more red light. Nowadays, red light panels and lights are available. You can buy these red lights, expose your system. It'll trigger the mitochondrial response. It'll uplift your metabolic function. Thereby, your mitochondria will be able to consume the sugars which are there in the blood. So naturally, it'll come low. Next, make sure your diet is low glycemic index and antioxidant rich. You want to cut down on sugars, white rice, gluten, all the refined foods, and you want to take more proteins. Now, if you're vegetarian, there are enough sources. If you're non-vegetarian, make sure you're eating a clean meat. Okay. Now, so simply going on a keto diet without understanding the quality of meat can also be a problem. So whether you're vegetarian, whether you are non-vegetarian, you want to eat a good quality food. And you want to eat at the right time. 2 meals a day, one around 10:30, 11 o'clock. Second meal, 6:30, 7 o'clock, 7:30, maximum 8 o'clock, you want to finish it. Okay. Very, very less snacking in between. This is enough for you to tackle major of your problems. Like I said, digestive health is very, very important. Very, very important. If your digestion is bad, it can lead to a lot of systemic problems, and diabetes is one of the outcome. Okay, so you want to avoid any bad food which is affecting your gut. You want to ensure your gut has enough healthy microbes, the probiotics. You want to ensure the infections are less. Now, how do you deal with that? You don't feed the infections by feeding your system by processed foods. Okay, you want to take certain probiotic foods or supplement, whatever required. Good quality has to be. You can also take fermented foods in a limited quantity every day so that you keep feeding yourself with the healthiest of microbes, which keeps your metabolic function great. And you want to feed yourself with a rainbow diet with a lot of phytochemicals. Again, these phytochemicals will make sure your gut microbiome is good and your metabolic function is good. So you get good lighting, you hydrate your system, you have a good food, and you ensure you maintain your digestive health. Okay. Along with that, if you can do some exercise, high intensity interval exercise. Basically, you do high intensity exercise, then take a break, and then do it, then take a break. Okay, maybe a sprint of 30-45 seconds, and then take a break and do it, redo it. So this will also stimulate the mitochondria, thereby metabolic function will go up. Or you can do some strength training, especially lower muscles of the body, especially your thighs, your calf, those bigger muscles. If you strength train, then also you stimulate enough mitochondrial activity in the system. As a consequence, things will be much far more better. So this is just the basic I wanted to touch upon today, so that you understand. Okay, diabetes is no sub the every day on the LinkedIn, on Facebook, we tend to get scared about this diabetes. Okay, and we know enough about the problem, and we have enough solutioning around it, as long as we as a race want to know and do the right functions about it. Now we are open to the questions. Okay, so Karan is asking, what about them who loves to eat sugars a lot? So I think, Karan, it's a choice. If you want to keep away from diabetes, it's not about what you love. It's about what this body needs. Okay. If you want to keep yourself in diabetes, you continue the way you want to. If you want to come out of the problem, you can fix it. Okay. Then there's no compromises on the body. Has certain, just like a software. Okay. If you're a software engineer, there's certain rules to the software. You have to follow that if the software has to work for you. Same with the body. If this body has to work for you, you have to follow the. You cannot say I'll feed the worst of the food and it should still work for me. It will not work for you. Now Nibha is asking if fasting insulin is 6, can it be fixed without me? Yes. Fasting insulin 6 is a good number, by the way. If it is more than 6, without medication, by good lighting, good food, good hydration, and of course, we have to see if any toxins are there, we can test. If there are any infections, we can test. We can look at your metabolic function by do something called organic acid testing. We can gather a lot of data to find out what all is not right, and we fix it, and it's taken care. So I'm a diabetic. I burn on average 300 to 350 kilocalories every day by walking. Now this is interesting. So we assume that I am burning this much of calories. You simply assume. Okay. Now, what is that is burning your calories? It is your mitochondria. Now, simply just because you walked so much and some calculation is given to me, if you walk this much, you invariably burn this much calories. This is not true. You only burn if your mitochondria is healthy. You simply take mitochondria as guaranteed that it is anyways working. But actually it is not working. If you have diabetes, this means your mitochondria is not enough. Like I said, diabetics has only 40% of the mitochondria. This actually means that if you're diabetic, if you think you are burning 350 calories, actually you're only burning 40% of that. Okay. So you need to work on the engines of the body. As you grow the number and the quality of the mitochondria, you actually start burning 350 or 400. If the quality is poor, that's a problem. So does low glycemic foods help in avoiding keeping diabetes? Certainly, yeah. Yes, certainly you can. So it's just like a car engine. You buy a best of the car. You want to maintain the car. You have to take it for servicing, and you have to put the best of the fuel. If you do that, your car will work for you. If you stop maintaining the car, it's a big problem. The same that you have to do for yourself. What about mustard oil being a Bengali? See, again, now you have to understand one fundamental aspect of life today. 100 years back, there was no electricity. There was no Wi-Fi. There was no 4G, 5G. There was no satellite network. Amount of radiation that is around us, which is killing our mitochondria, was not there. Okay. People will do hard work. People will sleep at the right time. People will only eat 2 meals a day. Just culturally, if we have been doing something for a long time, does not mean it is still suitable today also. In today's age, when pollution is high, when food is at the worst level, quality of water is the poorest. It is clean from RO system, but it is acidic water. You have to walk extra steps to keep yourself healthy. Just because culturally we have done something and we want to continue, it doesn't cut through. Okay. So really, guys, if you want to keep yourself healthy, you start thinking outside the box. Okay. You cannot say that because I'm this, I must do that. If you want to get yourself out of diabetes, you take the right steps, it'll happen. So somebody asked about olive oil. See, olive oil is good if you do it raw eating. If you do mild in saute, if you do Indian tadkas in olive oil, it is bad. It is actually worse. Indian tadkas, only desi ghee or coconut oil, or yes, this sarso ka tel and all that can withstand. Olive oil is very, very low melting point. You actually, if you make Indian food into tadkas into olive oil, it's actually bad. So glass, yes, if you have to sun charge the water, Sakshi, you have to do it in glass bottle. Plastic will melt. It'll give a lot of microplastics. Good quality. What about sweets? See, if your mitochondrial health is good, your gut health is good, then you can eat sweets, no problem. Your body, your mitochondria can consume it. But if your mitochondrial health is bad and you load a lot of sugar, it is a problem. Okay, you are taking more than enough. It's just like, you're trying to pour extra fuel in your car tank. It'll spill over. It can only hold as much it what is the capacity of the tank. Other rest is spilling over. So if your engines are not able to consume and you keep feeding, it'll spill over. It'll affect the kidneys, it'll affect the liver, it'll affect your cardiovascular system, it'll affect your eyes, it'll affect your brain. Okay, it's just very, very simple, right? It's not no ideal vegetarian diet to reduce. Okay, so first meal of the day, you want to have more fat and proteins. Now, vegetarianism, yes, there are some challenges. So at least one simple practice I can tell you: take some good quality, let's say a protein shake. You buy a good quality protein, take some flaxseed oil, mix with water, protein, flaxseed oil, water, mix it and drink it. That is your breakfast. 11:30, 10:30, 11:30, you want to have your first meal. You have your curries, and you can rotis. You can make it with jawari. You can make it with gluten-free atta. You can make it with high protein atta. Okay, or you can make it with ragi. Depends on what is your current status. If you're healthy, this is good to go to keep yourself going. And evenings, 6:30, 7 o'clock, instead of taking white rice, you can take millets. Now, millets are little millet, kodo millet, barnyard, foxtail, brown top. There is brown rice, there's thoyamali rice, there is samba rice, there's black rice, there's rajmudi rice, there's quinoa. So many options. When you want to choose a healthier options, actually there are so many options, especially in India. You have plenty of options. So there is so much you can do as a vegetarian. I'm a vegetarian, so nothing wrong with it. Will intermittent fasting reduce? Yes, certainly it will. If you eating 2 meals in the right time. Now, intermittent fasting does not mean you eat your last meal at 10 p.m. You take your first. Some people do it very, very wrong. They take their first meal at 2 p.m. and last meal at 10 p.m., which is absolutely ulta. You take your first meal by 10, 10, 11, second meal 6, 7, it's good to go. We have multiple cooking oil. So like I said, coconut oil and ghee, desi ghee, or cold pressed oils. Is walking 30 minutes good for a person who is on insulin? So first of all, Akshay Bhosle, is one important thing I want you to consider before walking is good. That is no problem. Lot of time misdiagnosis is done for type 2 diabetes. A lot of people, they're type 2 diabetic, but they're resistant to the insulin. Because the blood sugars are not coming down, they have been asked to take insulin injections. Okay. Now here, very likely in most cases, they don't need insulin. Now you test yourself whether your pancreatic function is doing okay or not. Okay. How do you test? You check your fasting insulin, you eat some food, and postprandial insulin also you check. So you can check your pancreatic function. Now, if your pancreatic function is okay, this means you don't need insulin. You need to make sure your mitochondria is good. A lot of time, misdiagnosis happen, and unfortunately, you keep injecting yourself with insulin for an unfortunately long time. Okay? And eventually, body will get into more problems. So first of all, walking is good anyway, but you want to ensure that you actually 1.5 diabetes or 1 diabetes, if at all that is the case. But again, if you have not tested yourself for insulin, please do that. It's very simple. Go to any local lab and you can do it for yourself. I need to burn around 1,000 kilocalories to achieve. So again, this calories funda, your mitochondria has to burn it. Okay. So please come out of this. It's a very old theory of calories and all that. You eat as much as you need, as much as your satiety. Make sure you do the basics. Make sure your mitochondria is good. That's all you need to keep your weight in check. You keep your blood sugars in check. You keep any thyroid problems in check. My father's diabetes for 10-15 years as well, having heart problems and bad cholesterol. So, which fruits? Okay. Yes. So, heart is also mitochondrial disorder, by the way. Okay. So, if you improve the mitochondria, diabetes will get better, heart will get better. Now, fruits, I would suggest pomegranates are okay, kiwi is okay, papaya is okay. So, banana, apples, red apples, and your chikus and your pineapple, anything which is very sweet could not be a good choice. If you want to take apples, green apples is a good choice. So, green apple, pomegranates, papaya, kiwi, berries, guavas, these kinds, some of things could be. Yes, how to reduce LDL and increase HDL. Now, first of all, I want to tell the LDL is not a bad guy. Okay, LDL is a good guy. It only increases when inflammation is high. It's like a bandage. When there's a problem, you want to put a bandage, and after that, you want to remove it. Okay, so LDL is only increasing when there's a problem, but we think LDL is a problem. LDL is just a messenger. Okay, now how do you reduce LDL, improve your HDL? You eat more healthier fats, you reduce your gluten, you reduce your dairy, you reduce your sugars, and if any infections are there, if any toxins are there, you eliminate them. Inflammation will come down, your LDL will come down. Good fats means you can have coconut oil, you can have omega oils, you can have flaxseed oil, you can have desi ghee. These all things will improve your HDL. What are some of the signs that you are heading towards diabetes? So, Alex, I think symptomatically, when you have diabetes, then you have the signs and symptoms. Okay, that is too late anyway. Okay, so test yourself. At least do yourself a fasting insulin. If your fasting insulin is more than 6, that means you need to become more careful. Symptomatology, regular, that you start urinating more, you are more tired, you are more thirsty, all of these things, that means you are already a diabetic case. Okay, that is too late. You can fix it anyway. That's not a problem. But before that, you want to control yourself. How do we control fasting and postprandial in the same count of the month or even taking perfectly medicine? So again, Srinivas, I'm saying medicine is not the solution. Okay, you want to fix the problem. If you fix your mitochondria, your problem is taken care. Okay, it's not about insulin. Whether you really need insulin, you test yourself. And most cases, people are on insulin, they have not tested their pancreatic function, their insulin this thing. Coconut oil, sir. If you want to keep your blood sugar, your inflammation in coconut oil is choice to go. Can you explain between thyroid and diabetes? Good question, Jesse. So both thyroid and diabetes are metabolic disorders. Okay. most cases, just because metabolic function, which is mitochondria, is not doing okay, your blood sugars will go high and your thyroid function becomes low. As simple as that. Okay. It's a mitochondria which is the problem behind. If you improve your mitochondria, thyroid function will also improve. That is one. Second, about thyroid is lot of time only TSH is high. Your T3, T4 are normal. When your T3, T4 are normal, only TSH is high. This does not warrant you to take a thyroxine tablet. But unfortunately, a lot of people only TSH is high and you are prescribed a goli. Okay, so there are nuances to it. We don't have much time today, but rather next time if we get the opportunity. Would white rice consumed in controlled quality? See, white rice is good for nothing. It's just a carb. You need more fat and proteins and fibers. You don't need so much carbs. Essential. This body is made of the fat and proteins. This is not made of the fats, carbs. Carbs are okay to some extent, but not refined. White rice good for nothing. It's a very, very wrong assumption that is told to us that eating more protein will affect kidneys. No, my friend, it's a good quality protein and you are able to digest that. Kidney health will improve. Kidney health will improve. Let's not go into ruin. Okay, but yes, you have to do the right way. As insulin injectable or tablet, insulin is only injectable, guys. Okay, but that's type 1.5 and 1 diabetes. We are not even discussing that part. Common symptoms of having diabetes unless. So again, symptom is when you already diabetic. Okay, then to whatever symptoms you are suffering, you have to deal with it. I'm saying if you are not diabetic, how do you know that you're going to get diabetes? Before your blood sugars goes up, you test your fasting insulin. Red rice is fine. It's fine. Red rice is fine. My takeaway to exposure to sunlight, reduce blue light, less carbs, 2 meals. Fantastic. Yes, that's that. Millet is fantastic. Good quality millet. Make sure you soak them before you take them. Is it advisable to consume cabbage on a daily basis, perhaps 2-3 times a week for better health? I heard. Now, cabbage is good. Okay, cabbage is good, but cabbage can carry a lot of parasites and tiny ones which you might not see. Okay, raw cabbage, theoretically, it has a lot of nutrition, which is good. But when you juice cabbage, you also juice the parasites or you consume the raw parasites. So if you really are into Shalini, into cabbage, make sure you clean it very, very thoroughly. Otherwise, the parasite and infection load can go high. Initially, you feel good and eventually things can go haywire. So lot of the social media guys, they say a lot of stuff, but unfortunately they as okay, protein shakes like whey that are sold market are mentioned harmful. No. So see, again, I'm saying doctors don't know about nutrition. I'm one of them. Okay, we don't know about nutrition. If somebody tells you that it is bad, ask them why. Okay, bad quality whey protein can be bad. If you choose the good quality, it is going to help you. Okay, that is you have to choose the right quality, and your body should be able to use. Now, another very, very important aspect of proteins is if you're only taking protein, for example, you don't have fat and minerals and vitamins. That's also a problem. It's like building a structure only with bricks, no cement. You want to consume proteins and you want to assimilate in the body. For assimilation, you need other raw materials also. Okay, so if you're taking protein, make sure you some B complexes there, magnesium, zinc is also there, some CoQ10 is also there, some fat is also there. Only protein is not it's not advisable. Protein in general are not bad, but you have to do the right way and a good quality, but it is not a problem. Yes, reference is always, reference, forget about references. Vitamin D reference is 30 to 80. B12 reference range is 250 to 100, 1000. Okay. Reference ranges by the labs are old standard. You have to come up with the new reference ranges. For insulin, 2 to 6 fasting insulin is a good reference. Is taking masala and so biryani can be done with a good quality rice also. You need not to use a bad quality rice to make biryani. Biryani is not a problem. It's a bad rice in the biryani could be a problem. A good quality chicken you put and good quality rice you put, fantastic. My father takes 16 units a daily before bed. His eyes feels itching every time. Okay, I don't know whether insulin is causing itching or some infections are there which is causing high histamine, which is causing itching. So you need to take care. Whether again, one thing I would suggest here, kindly test your father for the pancreatic function. Any lab you go, you ask fasting insulin, test for it. Okay, whether your father really need insulin or some misdiagnosis has happened. My husband HbA1c 8.876. It suggested reduce the dose. Yes, Swati he's doing good. It's reducing, fantastic. What you're doing is working. That's good. Is it advised to utilize tablets that lower cholesterol? Fat is required, guys. Okay, Sanjay, fat is the crucial component of this body. If you take a statin which stops the absorption of fat in your digestion, is a bad choice. And within four years, you will get diabetes. A lot of data. Statins, within 4 years, 40% of people will get diabetes because the statins will kill the mitochondria and longevity will come down. Narsima, so there's plenty of them on the market. I don't remember many of them. We have a brand called Autoimmunity Care, supplement brand. Not that I'm promoting since you asked for it, autoimmunitycare.com. And we have made a very, very good quality multi-mineral and multivitamin supplement. Not that I want promoting, okay, choose any good quality. Okay. There's some other questions. Ekta, do we have more time? It's a few more questions. You want me to take it?
Yeah, so we can just launch a poll. So if anyone has any questions, you can post it in a chat box. We have certain questions under the Q&A section as well. So once I'm just launching a poll, we can meanwhile, you can just start filling up this feedback poll. This will really help us to curate such sessions. So the poll is live on your screen. So you can just fill up this poll and you can participate in this. So meanwhile, Dr. Garg, we can start with Q&A section. So there are certain questions.
Right.
I'll just read out for you and you can just answer those questions as well. So here we have one question like I'm 34 and planning for pregnancy from past 4 years. But there is this year in April when RBS was tested, it was 198 and HbA1c 7.8 and postprandial was 240. So can this be reversed? And currently she's having a weight of 77.
Right. So if it is type 2 diabetes, it can be reversed. There's no question about it. Okay. Now, how do you know it is type 2 diabetes? You test your fasting insulin. If your fasting insulin is high, that is type 2 diabetes. And most cases, at this age, it should be type 2 diabetes. If your fasting insulin is not high, then means 1.5 diabetes. If your fasting insulin is low, that means it is type 1. Type 2, 100% reversed. Type 1.5, you have to do hard work to maintain your blood sugars, which is doable. 1, you need to take insulin. That's how it works.
Yeah. So another question is how diabetic women treated during pregnancy?
Same fundamentals, okay? Nothing, you have to eat the best of the food, okay? You don't overeat. And in fact, in India, we would do a lot of work during pregnancy to ensure mother's health is good, okay? Nothing new do you have to do. Good food, good light, that's all. Doesn't matter if you're pregnant. Your fundamental remains same.
So your another question is when should we check for sugar level? I mean, what common symptoms exist if the person is diabetic? I think we have discussed these questions.
Yes.
Yeah, my fasting sugar is around 120 and is not coming down even after having tablets. How to fix it?
Right. So, so tablets are short-term fixes. Okay, tablet does not fix the problem. So you really need to see what is behind it, and you fix it, and it'll get better. No, you don't need a prescription for testing yourself for diabetes. Any lab nearby, you go there and it'll help you.
Yeah, so we have one more question under the chat box, which is what is the optimal sugar level and how taking too much sugar or a soft drink
So
getting to
now
this
we
reduced.
know for sure. Okay, Baba Ramdev has been saying for years now, soft drinks are sugars. First of all, second, they're acidic in nature because the carbon dioxide there, they're acidic in nature. Acidic means they are electron stealers. Okay, they take away your energy. That is one. Second, sugars are there. It'll spike up your sugars for sure. If you want to really in a good space, your HbA1c should be less than 5. If you maintain your HbA1c less than 5, fantastic.
How different is insulin test compared to HbA1c test?
Right. So basically, HbA1c is a glycated Hb. Your blood sugar will get attached to your Hb. That is your HbA1c. Fasting insulin is just another test. How much is your insulin production by the pancreas is what it tests. So these are two different tests. HbA1c again primarily tell you about the average of your blood sugars over 3 months. That is technically what we say. So Shalini, I think rather than you looking at blood sugars, start looking at HbA1c and fasting insulin. If your fasting insulin is less than 6, your HbA1c less than 5.6 or less than 5 is the best. Less than 5 HbA1c is if you can maintain, you will have longevity. Okay, you can live longer. Yes, this is called Functional Medicine Clinic. You can Google it and you will certainly find us.
So there is one more question under the chat box. Is my doctor prescribed me now to take Losar 50, but I used to take Gluconorm SR 500.
Losar. Okay, let me check what is this Losar. So again, Bikram, again, like I'm saying, okay, the three classes of drugs mainly. One class of drug which is metformin, which improves the sensitivity of the insulin, which is okay. Until unless metformin does trouble to your stomach, metformin is a good drug. Second class of drug is to increase your insulin. There's so many drugs are there in increasing the insulin. Now, if your insulin is already high and you take a drug which is increasing your insulin further, it is a counterproductive mechanism. It might temporarily bring your blood sugars down, but actually it is a damage that is going on the system. Third kind of drug that is used is they excrete more sugars from the kidneys. It's just like a puncturing a car fuel tank. Okay, your engines are still broken. You just temporarily fix the numbers, but you affect the kidney health also. Next, of course, they give you insulin. So this is depending on the severity and all that. This is how the standard work function is done. But I'm saying go beyond your blood sugars. See why your blood sugars are keeping high. What are the reasons and issues behind it? You want to fix it, rather than getting into too much of complications for yourself.
So there are no questions, sir. So if you have any, yeah, there is one more question. How COVID is the cause of type 2 diabetes, as we tend to take a lot of antibiotics and strong medicines?
So now the two things, Yogesh. One, COVID. Anybody who had a COVID infection had a lot of viral load. Okay, viral toxins have been there in the bodies again, which is affecting your cellular machinery, which is the mitochondria. It poisons the mitochondria and sugars will go high. That is one. Another is a controversial topic, which is about the how vaccines will trigger autoimmunity, inflammation, thereby diabetes. So that is a little controversial. Not touch it. So Chandra, certainly you can reduce your blood sugars for sure. Okay, that is not. Now the question is, can you reduce your insulin, and how much you can reduce? That only testing will tell. If you change your diet, lifestyle, your need of insulin will come down for sure. Can you go off insulin? Your father can go off insulin is the right question. That will demand testing. If we test and your father is willing to work, now that is more important. Okay, if your father is willing to make a change to the lifestyle and diet, which not more, a lot of people not willing, they just want to take a pill, which is okay. But if you want to keep yourself healthy, not about the sugars, about your health and longevity, then you have to work. If you want to work, we can test and find out. Anybody can do it, not just me. Anybody. If you learn how to do it, that's all. Fasting insulin, Chandra, fasting insulin. Test yourself whether his pancreas is working or not. If working, how much it is working. And I'm saying lot of cases where insulin is prescribed, there might be a case where pancreas is fully active, but it is not tested. You test, that's it. Can diabetes affect blood sugar? See, again, every problem will affect other problem. Now, what is a okay? Another topic which will need a little more time, but generally, high blood pressure is your vessels are more brittle. Okay, your vessels which should expand as the volume of the blood should expand, is the expansion is not happening. That is hypertension. The expansion is not happening because there's more calcium in the vessels and less sodium. When you restrict your sodium, you restrict your plasma volume, but your vessel become more rigid. A lot of times you're told not to take salt. When you reduce your salt, you deposit more calcium in the vessel, your vessel become rigid and you become hypertensive. Blood sugar 100, less than 100, 90 to 100 is a good number for blood sugars.
So as we are coming to end for this enlightening webinar, so we extend our heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Garg for sharing his expertise and shedding light on possibility of reversing type 2 diabetes through functional medicine. So before we conclude, I would like to remind everyone that the journey of optimal health is ongoing and the information shared today can serve as a catalyst for the positive change. So if you have any further question, you can always reach out to us and we will be ready to help you in answering those questions through an expert. So once again, thank you so much, Dr. Ashwin Garg, and also to all the audience for joining us today. We hope you found this webinar informative and inspiring. So remember, the transformation of your health lies within you. We wish you all healthy and empowered journey ahead. So we'll see you next weekend. So till that time, take care and stay well.